If you're dealing with debt, you know how frustrating it can be, and so do we. We're Family Credit Management, and over the past 20 years, our experts have helped thousands of families conquer their debt. What we do is work with you and your creditors to find a customized solution to your finances. Isn't it time you took control of your financial future? As one of the nation's largest nonprofit credit counseling agencies, we're trusted experts who can really help. But you must take the first step.
Hey, good evening. We are back another week. My name is Leticia Griffin, and I am here today to speak with you about any types of questions or problems, any types of issues that you may be having with your finances. And so we're here for the next few minutes, so feel free to call in at 312-738-1060. Now, if you do not get the chance to call in, or perhaps you don't like to talk on air, you're kind of nervous about that, not a problem at all, because we do have an option for you. If you contact a counselor at Family Credit at 800-994-3328, you can get all your questions answered that way as well. Now, the great thing about dealing with Family Credit, like I said, you can call in and get the answers that you need. But let's say you don't have time to call in, or you're at work, or you just want some privacy with what you would like to discuss. You can go online to familycredit.org and talk directly, or use the chat feature. And you can talk directly with a credit counselor that can give you great advice. And so be sure to use that as a resource, because the counselors are there, they're available, they're standing by waiting to answer all of your questions. So again, we're back another week to just talk about your finances and getting control of your financial future. And one of the things that we do recommend is always getting a look at your credit report. So we'll touch on that, go over the keys, the key components of your credit report. And it is really important to look at your credit report from time to time. So we will also discuss that. We'll talk a little bit about dealing with your creditors as well, and dealing with those collection accounts, and try and help you get some of your questions answered and whatever else we can assist with. So feel free to call in 312-738-1060. Like I said, you can also reach out to a counselor at 800-994-3328. So we're always talking about the importance of your credit report, which your credit report defines who you are and what you're able to get out of life. And it's a great idea to take a look at your finances right now and try and determine, like, even if you're thinking about applying for something in the future. Let's say you're looking at, we're at the end of the year, of course, and pretty soon it'll be next year, 2019. Be tax season, and you'll be looking at getting a big refund. So we want to make sure that you're thinking about it now. If you're thinking about that big refund and what you can do with it in the future, right now is the time to take a look at your credit report and see what steps you actually need to take to improve your situation. And I want you to start looking at it now, because like I said, it'll be next year before you know it, and then you will already have your plan in place and know exactly what you need to tackle. That's why it's a great idea to get a look now. We deal with those bureaus. Now, a lot of people say, well, I don't know what bureau to look at, or there's so many different bureaus, so much information. And you're right, there are a lot of bureaus out there that offer this information, but we only deal with the top 3. And those are Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. Again, there are other bureaus out there that keep track of other information, but when you're looking at your credit report, you want to make sure you're paying attention to Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. And the reason why I mentioned that there are other bureaus out there is because a lot of people don't know that. There are so many different scores that are being advertised, so many different types of bureaus. You can get this report and that report, and you can contact and get a free report. But then keep in mind, a lot of times that information does not come directly from the credit bureaus, or it could be filtered information, and that's the last thing you need. You want to be looking at current information when you're trying to get your plan together. Now, I'm not saying that information out there is wrong, but if you want to actually know what you qualify for, the best thing you can do, go directly to the source, which is TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian directly. All 3 They do have websites that you can go to get that information too. But the best place to go to get it is annualcreditreport.com. So that's where you should start off. Making yourself familiar and friendly with annualcreditreport.com. It will ask you to create a login and password. And this is something that you're going to be using for years and years. So make sure it's something that you'll remember. Looks like we've got our first caller. Hi, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks. A few years ago, I filed bankruptcy, and now I'm finding myself wanting to repair my credit. Where do I start?
Okay. Well, if you file bankruptcy, it's best to take a look at what damage or what's been done since then. So you want to pull up your report. Again, go to annualcreditreport.com, look at the bureaus there, and see what information is there or what's being presented. Now, keep in mind that you know that you filed bankruptcy, so you know you need to recover from it. And your score looks at what you've done since then too. So even though at the time you filed a couple of years ago, I'm sure it dropped your score. But now it's time, like you said, to get back on the right track and see what you can do to fix it. Be sure, first step though, is that you look at when you're trying to figure out what to do. You don't want to pay anyone to do something that you can do yourselves. And it's all right for you to seek assistance on that as well. So you want to pull your credit bureau report. You want to look at what's there and see if there's anything reporting on your credit report that should have been included in the bankruptcy that wasn't. That's something that a lot of people might miss, because guess what? If you filed bankruptcy on a bill and let's say it wasn't included, you forgot to include it for whatever reason, you can still go back to the trustees and have that added in. So you need to contact your attorney and work out the details with that. But that's something that you can do. Next, you want to look at rebuilding. And so we've got all this negative information there that's shown on our credit report from filing bankruptcy. But it doesn't really matter as long as you can take some positive information and replace that negative or counteract that negative with some positives. So the way you can do that is look and see what type of credit card offers do you actually get. Are you receiving anything? Does anything look like it might help you in your situation? Now, once you file, of course, you're getting all types of responses. You get so many different offers from so many different places, but you do need to look at them and see which one makes the most sense for you. And a lot of times, after you file bankruptcy, the cards that you get are at a higher interest rate, or they charge higher fees. And you also have to make sure that the accounts that you're looking at or whatever they're sending you, they're going to actually report to the credit bureau. That's the number one thing that we actually do needed to do to fix everything or to improve our score. We needed to report to the credit bureau. So you want to make sure that that's happening. So you've taken a look at your credit report, you've looked at an option or some credit card offers that you're getting to rebuild things. And sometimes even that isn't enough. Sometimes you get those offers, but you still don't qualify. So then you want to look at what's called a secured account. And you can contact your bank or your financial institution if you've got a credit union and see what type of credit rebuilding products they have available. Usually they can give you a credit card or a credit rebuilding loan. And those are two things you want to look at. If you contact a counselor at 800-994-3328, they can give you more advice on dealing with that too. And sometimes, it really depends on what your situation is as to what option you should choose. And sometimes you'll get those credit card offers right away. Like I said, sometimes you'll have to go the secured route. But that's something that you can look at, especially after you have filed and you are trying to rebuild. Another thing that you do want to keep in mind, though, is that look at your budget. How much can you actually afford? Can you afford to make payments now? And you want to set that amount ahead of time. Know what you're getting yourselves into and stick with that. Don't go over it. Don't go over whatever goals you have planned for yourselves. So keep that in mind when you're looking at your budget. We've talked a little bit about, dealing with the credit bureaus. And we've talked a little bit about what do you do after bankruptcy when you're trying to rebuild your credit. So we've shared those ideas. Feel free to call in and ask more questions that you may have regarding that. And we can help you out with that as well. A lot of people don't know after they file bankruptcy, there is life. And you have the power to rebuild your credit and to make things better. So no matter what goes bad in your life, actually, your credit report is something that you do have control over and you can work on making things better. And it doesn't take as long as you think. A lot of people think that credit score follows them and it's just going to be horrible forever. But the information that is reported to the credit bureaus, it does stay on your report a long time. It can stay for up to 10 years when things go bad. And typically, if you have a collection account, it stays for 7 years from the date it went bad before it would even be removed from your credit report unless you were to pay it or work out arrangements with the creditors. If you file bankruptcy, guess what? That bad information stays for 10 years. So that's why you do want to be proactive, and you do want to see what you can do about rebuilding and counteracting with some positive accounts and getting some more things on your credit report, because you know that information is going to be there for a while. But rest assured, there is hope after that as well. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Looks like we've got another caller. Hi, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks. I'm actually struggling with a ton of medical bills, and I just can't find any relief. What should I do?
Okay. Well, when you're dealing with medical bills, there are resources out there that can help you, and you can contact a counselor and just find out more information about how to set up arrangements with your creditors or anything like that. But specifically when you're dealing with your medical bills, I want you to take a look at the medical bills that you have. Maybe write out a list. If you've got the letters, contact the billing departments for the medical bills that you have, and you want to sit down and see actually what all you have listed. You want to check and make sure that they were submitted to the insurance if you've got insurance, or whatever type of insurance or Medicare, Medicaid you may have. Make sure that they were submitted there and that this is the remaining balance after that's happened. Now, what I want to let you know is that all medical facilities, all hospitals, all networks, they have charity assistance available, and you can qualify for it. You do need to contact the billing department though and ask for an application and just making sure that those funds are available. But everyone qualifies for the charity assistance that's being offered. You just have to ask for it. You may need to submit your paycheck stubs. You may need to submit your tax returns. And each hospital is different. Some of them may not require that much from you. Some may just need a letter or to know that you actually need the help. After you do that, you want to work out whatever payment arrangements with them that you can and keep those arrangements. Sometimes our score takes a hit because there's so many different medical bills that have been reported to the credit bureaus. But there's been some enhancements with the credit bureaus relating to medical bills. So what happens is, if you've got a medical bill that's gone delinquent right now, it can't be reported on your credit report right away. So you've got time to make arrangements, to set up payment arrangements, to make sure that the insurance company has paid it. And they need to allow at least 180 days before they can actually report that medical bill on your credit report. How cool is that? The reason why I bring that up is because, like I said, if you are able to make any type of payment to the medical facility or to the doctor's office, then that's going to keep the balance in the account in-house, and they're going to keep receiving payments on it each and every single month, and they are not going to send it out to a collection agency because you're making payments, no matter how small that payment may be. So if you feel like you can only afford to make a $10 payment on a medical bill for now, do that. Send the payment in, bring the payment into the doctor's office, and work out arrangements with them to keep that account in-house so that it's not reported to the credit bureaus. Best thing you can do. Remember, charity assistance is there for a reason. Just ask, and then work out payment arrangements with the hospital or network. A lot of times, if it's a private doctor too, let's say you've been going to this doctor all of your life, you're struggling with the medical bills, and I'm sure they're aware of it too. So you can also share with them what you're going through, and sometimes they will offer or do whatever they can to assist you in your hardship. I've seen some doctors, completely write off a balance of a medical bill because they know that their clients could not pay it and they had legitimate reasons for not being able to pay it. So be vocal about it. Remember, those things do affect your credit report. And we don't want those medical bills to end up there in the long run. Again, we're talking about the credit report. It's what defines us. It's what we need to actually keep our eye on and making sure that we are doing good with the credit, handling it responsibly, and being able to communicate with our creditors to keep things positive and to work within our budget. Because we work so hard for our money, we want to make sure that the money we're doing right by our finances, and that we're able to keep up with those payments and contact the creditors and making sure that things are good. Again, like I said, if you're looking at applying for a loan, you want to do it 6 months ahead of time. You want to pull your credit report, go in there and find out what's going on, because the last thing you want to do is go to a lender or go to an auto dealer and have them run your credit and be turned down. Last thing you want. But if you know ahead of time what's on your report and what your financial situation is, you've got control over it. So that's how you want to go throughout life, knowing ahead of time what's going to happen. So always look up your credit report, take a look at it, and make sure that you are staying current with your payments. Number one tip for having the best score ever: make your payments on time. Make sure you're able to make all of your payments, and if you can't afford them, there is help out there. There's things that you can do. Contact a counselor, find out more information about dealing with your creditors, about what they will do for you, if there are any hardship programs out there, if there's any assistance available. They'll be able to tell you, because they deal with the creditors every single day, so they can tell you like what creditors are more likely to assist you. And that's just something great that you need to have when you're trying to fix things or keep things on track. So like I said, number one thing, make your payments to your creditors, pay them on time. If you cannot make the payments, look for help. Next thing you want to do, make sure you're keeping those cards under a credit limit. I see a lot of people that struggle with this because they're not paying attention to what the credit limits are. They feel like, okay, well, they've given me this credit limit, I'm going to use it all. That's a red flag for your creditors too, because if they give you a credit card limit and you go over that credit card limit, now you're seen as desperate. You're using up all of your available credit, and that keeps your score low. So you want to make sure you're staying under half of the credit limit if at all possible. And then if you can do better than that, go for it. Do you know they say that the people that have the highest credit scores only use 7% of their available credit? 7%. Keep that in mind. So if you've got a $100 credit card, you really don't want to be using much of it at all. You want to stay in good standing and make your payments on time, you're staying under that credit limit and keeping your eye on your credit limit. So what happens if you are struggling with your debt? You know things are about to get out of control. Still current, still being able to pay them, but you notice that you're creeping up towards your credit limits? First off, whatever you can afford with your discretionary income, whatever income you have left after you pay your bills, put that towards that account to keep that balance down. You want to be sure you're doing that every single month. Next, if you feel like you're at your credit card limit, there's no hope for you, make sure you're keeping your payments on time, stay in contact with the creditors, contact the creditor, and see if they can look at increasing your credit limit as well. Now, sometimes credit limit increases typically are done by the creditor, and they do them at their discretion. But you can contact the creditor and see when is your review coming up. You can see if they have any special offers. So there's certain things that you can do that will help improve your financial situation too. Now, if they increase your credit limit, do not use it. Just make sure that you know that you've got the credit limit increase, because this is helping to strengthen your score, but stay away from it. Don't use up all of that credit. You want to keep things positive on your end, and that goes a long ways with doing it. Credit score takes into account how much available credit you have, and again, if you start using it all up, you are going to be seen as desperate. But like I said, you can recover from it. You can look at whatever you've got left and worry and use that towards that balance, and that's called your discretionary income. Use that to help keep your debt in control. Again, you can contact a counselor for more information on dealing specifically with your creditors, and they can help advise you on what you can do, what steps you can take, and how you can keep things positive and keep your score working for you. So we've looked at what we can do to improve things, how we can keep things current, and also when you're looking at having a strong score, you also want to keep in mind the type of debt that you have, because not all debt is good debt. So you want to make sure, even though you may be paying it on time, it could be affecting your score because of the type of account it is. You want to keep a nice mix or balance to your credit profile as well. And what I mean by that is if you've got don't just have all credit cards. Look at doing maybe credit cards. If you've got a student loan payment, mortgage payment, auto loan, maybe even an installment loan. You want to have a nice mix, a nice portfolio, and keep things together that way too. That way, you are really, really showing your creditors that you know how to handle credit responsibly. And you also want to keep in mind, throw in your income when you're thinking about all of the debt that you may have to. You want to make sure that you can comfortably afford the income. Now, from time to time, you may see that your creditors will send you inquiries, or just you might be logging into your account and it may say, hey, what's your income? They're asking you every year to update your income so that they can make sure you can comfortably afford the payments. If they were considering you for a credit line increase, they may do it that way as well. They do need to keep your income on file and verify that they have, in fact, asked you for your income too. So that's part of keeping a happy, healthy credit card portfolio or financial outlook. Looks like we've got another call. Hi, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you. I just wanted to ask, I've heard that with all the security breaches at companies with our private information, that the protection is to have the 3 credit bureaus freeze your credit. How does that work, and how long does that process take?
Okay. Well, keep in mind when you were going through that process and you've gotten the notices about the credit freeze, sometimes they'll do it for you automatically because they want to protect your information too. Now, if you were to put a freeze on your credit on your own, then you would need to contact the bureaus and let them know that. That will go into effect right away, and it can stay for up to 7 years. So you want to make sure that you keep that in mind when you're doing the credit freeze. Now, if you've gone through identity theft, that's a little bit different, because what will happen is if you go through identity theft, you contact the credit bureau, you let them know you've gone through identity theft, and then they will contact the other bureaus and put a temporary freeze on your credit report too. Now, with the temporary freeze, that's only for about 7 days or whatever time frame that they've given you, because what's going to happen is you need to submit a police report stating that, which will verify that yes, your identity has been compromised, and then they will put the freeze on your profile, which will stay for years and years and years. Keep in mind, if you do that freeze though, if you are going to get credit somewhere, or you want to get a home, you want to get a loan for your car or anything like that, you do need to unfreeze that bureau temporarily, and then after you finish that process, you can go ahead and put that freeze back on. Looks like we've got another call. Hi, welcome to the show.
Yes, I was just wondering, I'm starting to fall past due on my mortgage, so I was wondering if you have any suggestions what I could do.
Okay. Well, first thing, if you are behind on your mortgage, you do want to let your lender know. Typically with mortgages, you do have a grace period, and with most mortgage companies, that grace period is 15 days. So if you feel like you're just going to be late right now, do let them know. Maybe there's something that they can do to reverse the late fee if you do get one. And you do want to reach out. Now, if you feel like it's going to be longer than that, and you really are hitting a brick wall, you are having problems with your mortgage, contact your creditor, let them know, see what type of modification or foreclosure prevention programs they have in-house that can assist you. If you do not get anywhere with that, then you can reach out to a housing counseling agency in your area. Make sure that they're a HUD certified housing counseling agency, and then they will assist you with trying to see what steps you can take so that your account does not fall past due, you don't go into foreclosure, and you can recover from it. Now, your credit may take a hit during that process though, but you can work to rebuild it. The important thing is that you don't want to lose your home. Or you could be on the other end and feel like, okay, things are too hard, and you are looking at walking away. There's some options that will help you avoid that too. You can look at possibly seeing when you can sell, or you can see what if your lender will let you do a short sale or a deed in lieu. So those are some things that you can contact your creditor or a housing counseling agency about and finding out more information. So these are just all really great questions, and I wish there was more time, but we are kind of short on time. Looks like we're running out. We will be back next week to answer any other questions that you may have. So feel free to call back. You can reach out to a counselor, 800-994-3328, get the information that you need. and use it as a resource. Like I said, you never know what you're going through that can help someone else. So feel free to reach out for help, and we will see you again next week. Take care.